All right, the dreaded rounding, boys and girls. Today we're going to be using place value to round. And the difference between rounding in fourth grade versus rounding in third grade or second grade are the size of the numbers. Okay, so we're going to be working with numbers that are in the hundred thousands place, maybe the millions place. But we're going to be rounding to the tens place still. We're still going to be rounding to the hundreds, still going to be rounding to the thousands, and we're going to be adding on rounding to the nearest 10,000. Okay, so that's a keyword we can box using cubes, going straight into this word problem about extreme sports and the X Games. And the amount of people that go to the X Games. So we're using this word problem as a way to jump into rounding. And look at these numbers here, 268,390. Okay, and then 268,390 rounded to the nearest 10,000. What that means is, let's find the 10,000s place in our number, 268,390. Okay, so it's telling us to round to the 10,000s place. It's right here. Ones, tens, hundreds, 1,000s, 10,000s, 100,000s. 10,000s are there. And when we're done rounding this number to the nearest 10,000, okay, we're going to have the digit 2 in the 100,000s place. That is not going to change because it's still 260 something thousand. And the digit in the thousands place, the hundreds, the tens, and the ones, those are all going to end up being zeros. And when we round, that's kind of what we're looking for, okay, is to have as many zeros in a number as possible. It makes it easier to add or subtract or multiply, divide in our head. And when we're rounding numbers, that's what we're trying to do. We are saying it's okay not to use the exact number. Why not round and make it a little bit easier for us to operate with numbers? So we have 268,390, and the first strategy is to use a number line. Okay, and they give us a number line down here on the bottom. And what we're thinking about here is, what are the two 10,000s that surround 268,390? Well, the first one, the one on the left of your number line, is always going to be including the value of the digit in the place that you're rounding. That means the place that we're rounding is the 10,000s, and the number on the left is 260,000. So that's one of our 10,000s that we have as an option to round this number to, or 10,000 more than 60,000 is 70,000. And so the two numbers we're surrounded by here are 260,000 and 270,000. Okay, and our job is to figure out, is 268,390 closer to 270,000, or is it closer to 260,000? And one of the helpful things to do is find your middle number. Okay, what is this number that's in the middle between 260,000 and 270,000? And it's 265,000 is that middle number. And now we can ask ourselves, if the number is more than 265,000, it's going to round to 270. If it's less than 265,000, it's going to round to 260,000. 268,390 is closer to 270,000 than 260,000. Therefore, 268,390 rounds to 270,000. Okay, that is using a number line to round really large numbers. Okay, the next strategy is to remember catchphrases to round, or remember devices such as 5 or more, let it soar, 4 or less, let it rest. And when we're talking about 5 or more or 4 or less, okay, we're trying to figure out, is the number bigger than our middle point, right? 5 or more. That 8 is 5 or more. And so it made the number 268,390 soar to 270. Okay. And we're looking at the 8 because we're rounding to the nearest 10,000ths place. And you always look to the digit to the right of the place that you're rounding. Okay. All right. So in example number 2, people are jumping up and down for 1 minute, and there were 569,069 people jumping up and down for 1 minute. Sounds like a very interesting world record, something Dude Perfect might put together. But the question is asking us here about, I'm going to box that keyword, how many people set this record, right? So about how many people were out there jumping up and down for 1 minute, okay? Round 569,069 to the nearest thousands, right? So we're going to be rounding to the, nearest 100,000s, okay? We know we're rounding because we have the word about in our word problem. About how many hours of sleep did you get last night? Okay. And then our question that we'll underline, about how many people set this record. Okay. 569,069 is the exact amount of people that were jumping up and down. But if we round to the nearest 100,000s, we can find about how many people. So let's find the 100,000s place first, because it says circle the digit and the place to be rounded. That is the 100,000s place for us. That's this 5. Ones, tens, hundreds, 1,000s, 10,000s, 100,000s. The second says underline the digit to the right of the place being rounded. Right? So again, it's that 5 or more, 4 or less. If the underlying digit is 4 or less, do not change the circled digit. If the underlying digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the circled digit. Okay, so we have a 6. That is 5 or more. We're going to add 1 to our digit in the hundreds place, and when we do that, becomes a 6. So essentially we're adding 100,000 to that 5. Number 4 says replace all digits after the circled digit with zeros. 10,000s, the 1,000s, the hundreds, the tens, and the ones. So about 600,000 people were jumping up and down for 1 minute, setting a record. Okay. Now the same thing, but with a number line. Use the number line, 569,069. Well, in this case, remember, when we're using a number line, we're trying to figure out what's the halfway point. Halfway between 500,000 and 600,000 is 550,000, just like halfway between 500 and 600 is 550. Okay. So that means that 569,069, well, look, that 6 makes 569,069 greater than our halfway point. So it soars up to 600,000. 569,069 is closer to 600,000, as you can see on your number line. All right. Now, let's tone down the numbers for just 1 second. we have 2,221, and it asks us to round to the given place value position. Okay, so this is our command, all right? It's telling us what to do, and these are the keywords to help us understand what we're being told to do. We're rounding to the given place value. The given place value, kids, just means that the book told you where to round to. The thousands, the 10,000s, and the 100,000s. Okay, so let's start with 2,221. And we're rounding to the nearest thousands place. That means let's think about what two thousands, right? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, so on, surround 2,000. And the first one is always the value of the digit that we are rounding. The digit is in the thousands place is the 2. Its value is 2,000. Well, 1,000 more than 2,000 is 3,000. Those become our two options for our answer, okay? Now, halfway between 2,000 and 3,000 is 2,500. Just like halfway between 20 and 30 is 25, okay? Now, let's ask ourselves, is 2,221 smaller than 2,500, or is it greater than? This is that whole 4 or less, 5 or more thing, right? We're looking to see if that 2 in the hundreds place here is greater than the 5 in the hundreds place in our halfway point. It's less. 2 is less than 5. That means 2,221 is somewhere over here. Therefore, 2,221 rounds to 2,000 because it's closer to 2,000 than it is to 3,000. Now, let's look at that second example, okay? This is that device that you can remember. That way, you're not having to draw number lines all over the time, okay? So, and when I say the device to remember, it's the saying that you would remember. It would be the chanting of a vocabulary word with hand signs to go along with it, a lot like our content dictionaries in our GLAD units. Okay, so let's think about this. The first direction was circle the digit in the place to be rounded. We are rounding to the thousands. That's our 2. Second, underline the digit to the right of the place being rounded. Well, to the right next to our thousands place is this 2. Now 3, underline if the underlined digit is 4 or less, do not change the circled digit. If the underlined digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the circled digit. Here, 2 is less than 5. Do nothing to that circled digit. It stays the same. And then we look at number 4. Replace all digits after the circled digit with zeros. 0 in the hundreds, 0 in the tens, 0 in the ones. Again, still rounds to the same place value position, 2,000. Okay. All right. 78,214 to the nearest 10,000s place. So let's write our number down. 78,214. Make a number line. The given place value position is the 10,000s. What two 10,000s are surrounding 78,214? Remember, the first one on the left-hand side is always the value of the digit that you're rounding to. The 10,000s. The digit in the 10,000s is the 7. Its value is 70,000. Then, after 70,000, because numbers are getting greater when you're moving along a number line to the right is 80,000. Now, what is in the middle between 70,000 and 80,000? Or what's in the middle between 70 and 80? 75,000. Now, is 78,214 greater than 75,000 or less than 75,000? You can look to the digit to the right. That 8 is greater than the 5. Therefore, 78,000 is tucked in. 214 is tucked in between 75,000 and 80,000. That means 78,214 rounds to 80,000. Okay. Now, let's check out the memorization device. The correct word for that is escaping me at the moment, but let us act it out. 78,214. Number 1 says, circle the digit in the place to be rounded. 10,000ths. That's this 7. Number 2, underline the digit to the right of the place being rounded. Okay. Number 3 says if the underlined digit is 4 or less, do not change the circled digit. If the underlined digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the circled digit. 8 is greater than 5, therefore we are going to add 1 to our circled digit, add 10,000. And everything else, just like number 4 says, all digits after the circled digit, after the 7, become zeros. 0 in the thousands, comma. 0 in the hundreds, 0 in the tens, 0 in the ones. 80,000. Okay? 80,000. Number 3, we are going to be rounding to the given place value position. In this case, it's the 100,000s, 581,203. And we're rounding it to the 100,000s place. Start with the number line. What 200,000s surround 581,203? The first one on the left is always the value of the digit that you are rounding. Okay, the 5. 500,000. Okay, well, after 500,000 is 600,000. That means 581,203 is somewhere in between 500,000 and 600,000. And so when we look at this number, this number line, we want to figure out what's in the middle. What's in the middle between 500,000 and 600,000? Or what's in the middle between 50 and 60? 55. Okay. And then add our zeros. 550,000 is in the middle between 500,000 and 600,000. Is 581,203 greater than 550,000 or less than? Well, look to the digit to the right. That's the 8, and 8 is greater than the 5. Therefore, 581,000 is over here between 550,000 and 600,000, making 581,203 closer to 600,000. It rounds to 600,000. Now our second method strategy, 581,203. First step, just going to go ahead and fold this paper here. This is going to be a great piece of paper to hang on to. Page 38, even upwards and including cutting steps 1 through 4 out and pasting them onto a piece of your notebook paper could be a great idea. It says, number 1, circle the digit to be rounded. Okay, circle the digit to be rounded. We are rounding to the 100,000th place. Right here, 100,000th place. Circle it. Okay. Now, number 2 says, underline the digit to the right of the place being rounded. It's the 8. 3 says, if the underlined digit is 4 or less, do not change the circled digit. Okay. If it's 5 or greater, add 1 to the digit. So here, 8 is 5 or greater, where you're going to add 1 to our 100,000th place. 6. Everything else, according to number 4, becomes a 0. All digits after the circled digit become zeros. And when you do that, you find that our answers, no matter what our strategy is, still 600,000. Okay. Go ahead and plug in my answer. All right, kids. That is rounding using place value.